Hello, welcome to idrawgirls.com. This one is a basic drawing tutorial on how to draw lips. It's this one the lips is slightly open, open mouth a little bit, so it's not like the closed lip. I might do a tutorial on that later, or I might already have, not sure. But this is a basic tutorial. If you are already a subscriber to my channel, you can just skip this one, and there'll be more advanced video coming. Just look for it, or go to my channel and look for my more advanced video. So this one will be just for the beginner, and it's pretty easy. So let's get started. So here we go. Usually when I draw lips in my portrait, I usually leave it open slightly a little bit, not as big as this. So that's a basic closed lip. That's what I'm drawing right now. That's pretty simple, and then you have a shadow underneath, and then some people has some in the middle of the upper lips, and then the corner of the mouth will be really dark, and underneath the lower lips, which casts a shadow because your lips kind of popping out, lower lips kind of popping out a little bit, and then it casts a shadow onto the above the chin. So now I'm drawing the upper lips right here, and in the middle there's like an open mouth, so you can see a little bit of the teeth, and then I'm going to draw the line for lower lips. So usually the lower lips are naturally thicker than the upper lips, and the upper lips cave in, or it's as if you touch your lips from the top of the skin of the face and then go into upper lips, it's kind of going in, so it's received more shadow, and the upper lips kind of plumbing out. So when you draw and render, so that's the drawing of the lips. So you would just want a line draw, then you just make that shape prettier, and then you finish half the lip. But then if you're gonna shade, then you have to know that right as you go in the corner of the lips, it will get darker. And then there's some on top of the upper lip, there's some something in the middle. I don't know what that calls, but usually they have the kind of cape in shape. And now we have the lips, and I'm trying to get the darker line onto the lower part of the upper lips, because that's where it receives a lot of shadow, because it's going inside the mouth, which is like a cave. So it's didn't have any light in there. So, and oops, I think I skipped something. So now we have the upper lips, and then there's teeth right there. And you don't have to draw every single teeth, you just have to give it some suggestion. And because if you draw everything, then it might make your picture look a little off and not realistic, because when your eyes see the lips and the teeth together, you don't see everything, you see the overall picture. So when you draw and shade something, you don't necessarily have to draw everything, because there's a focal point that your eye adjusts, or the audience eyes will adjust, and as you see the empty spot or a lighter spot, your brain automatically trick you like that's the teeth. You just have to have the right or the correct shape, and that's it. And what I'm doing right now is I'm rendering the the corner of the lips, which is like the darker part of the lips, which is kind of like going into the corner. And now in the middle, some people have that sort of like a bird looking thing, kind of pointy in the middle. Some people has like a more oval shape that going in. And lower lips, usually this is a female lip, so it's kind of plumber in the bottom. And when you draw lips, sometimes if you're gonna draw realistic lips, sometimes you see crack, you see some crease on the lips. You can give it suggestive, but you don't try not to emphasize that too much, or try not to make those lines dark, because it's unflattering, especially if you're drawing a portrait for people. Trying to make it look a little better, a little plumber. That's why women they wear lipstick and stuff, to make things plumb and clean and shiny and clear, so you don't see any of those crease on your lower lips, which normally you will see if you don't put any lip balm on, and if your lips not moist, then you see a bunch of dry crack, which is not pretty flattering. And now I'm rendering inside of the mouth, which is dark, and usually it's dark in the corner, and sort of the light's kind of shining in a little bit, so you can see a little bit of lighter value, but it's still darker than the lip itself overall, because it's you don't see any things in it except some teeth. But if you have watched some of my tutorial before on portrait, I usually paint a portrait and have slightly a little open gap on the lip, just because psychologically sometimes if you see a little bit of teeth, you can tell if a person is attractive or not by, it's kind of like indication of health. So from Psychology magazine, I didn't came up with that, but now I'm rendering more, building up. So when you draw with pencil, going light first. If you watch my video before, then you probably know I'm going light, and make the right measurement. The right shape is very important. You get the shape correct, and then you render it out, it will be fine. If your initial shape is not correct to begin with, doesn't matter how good you render, your picture is not going to be as accurate as good. So the measurement of the drawing and the correct shape, line drawn, sketch, or whatever you might call it, and have the proper shape that are correct, then your image will finally turn out to be good when it's finished. But if not, then your finished product, doesn't matter how good you can render, is not going to be so good. So now I'm just kind of building up. As you can see, I'm just building up from really light to dark, and this process is not not much of a technique going on. You just kind of glaze your pencil on the same direction over and over, and sometimes you might do the on a different direction to kind of build up your pencil onto the darker spot, to kind of make it kick across. And then sometimes, like right now, I'm adding sort of texture, like where the middle part of the upper lips kind of curving into the side, and now I'm doing the edge of the lip. And right there you have the upper lips. As you can see, it's look like a three-dimensional object, because you have a render out from the corner that doesn't hit the light. It's caping in there and is slowly coming up, and then up on top of the upper lip you receive the upper lips receive a little bit of lighting on top, like right top to the medium in the bottom. And some people who has like thin lips, they might not catch it at all, so the upper lip might be sort of like 1 or 2 value, which is really dark. I might not catch it like if you notice some people who have a really thin lips, then it's you barely ever see that. And now I'm rendering the lower lips, and the lower lips usually are plumber. Even if you have a thin lip, sometimes lower lips still bigger than the upper lips. And if you have like a full lips, then the lower lips can be really plump, and sometimes it looks very appealing. And now I'm going onto the upper lips and build up some more value or some more shading. And now the lower lips, I kind of like glaze over with along the line, giving it some sort of a texture of the crease that happened onto the lips. But as you can see, I don't go in and make it real dark, and then I glaze over or build up some value on top of it, so you don't barely see it. So it's kind of look trying to make it texture wise make it look realistic, but you're trying to maintain the flattering look of the lip itself. And then I leave some of the spot to because I'm going to have some highlight part, so it's easier to render, build up, and leave some spot so that you can have an easier time making highlight. If you use a what tool I use is I use a kneaded eraser, which is the eraser that you can it's like some sort of clay that you can make shape, and you make a pointy shape, and you dapping into the graphite, and you lift it up, as you see by the almost the end of this video. And now I'm trying to render it out. And as I say, if you have a reference, trying to simplify things, trying to look at the value in a simple notion, like if you might see if you look at a picture or you look at a person, you might see a lot of, oh, that's a lot of range of shade of gray. If you draw in black and white, that's a lot of range of shade of gray. So if you simplify into like, okay, trying to make to have like 3 shades, like dark, mid, and light, and then you can go up step after simplify to 3 shade in the beginning, and you up step to 5, then have dark, like black or dark gray, gray, light gray, and then light, and then you have an easier time as you progress. But when you simplify first to be an easier, like 3 blocks of value, then you start off with that, and then you progress with like 3 to 5. And in painting, it doesn't. In reality, in painting or drawing, value is, it doesn't have that many value, and it just everything just kind of all blend in the shade. So it just kind of build up like what I'm building up right now, and you'll be fine with the drawing the lips. And there you go. Let's see. That's what I'm doing. I'm using the kneaded eraser to lift up, like you see that kind of gray over there, and then I'm using kneaded eraser that I make a pointy on the tip, and I just lift off a certain part and make some shiny. And then sometimes it doesn't lift off the dark or the graphite accurately, so I'm gonna have to go in and trying to refine that shape again. I'm going in and refining the shape right there. So that's what the kneaded eraser for. And then I use a regular eraser to just completely erase, just to get the more sharp line, and that's what the eraser is good. Or just completely eliminate the line I don't want. So, and this is a simple closed lip. That's what you call a corner of the lips, very important. And then the top of the chin, and then right there, that's a closed lip. And then same thing, you just go in and render, same as this, and that's pretty simple. So thanks for watching the tutorial, and there's more tutorial from beginner to intermediate to advanced on my channel. You can go take a look, and then in the bottom of the video there's a link to the step-by-step image for how to draw these lips. And there's more tutorial how to draw eyes, everything, portrait. Go to my channel on top, and then the links on the bottom of the video. Alright, have a great day. Bye bye.